Local 5 is proud to bring you this special presentation of Sustainably Speaking, celebrating planet Earth and the different ways our communities are creating an eco-friendly environment for all. Presented by Logistics Recycling Incorporated and Goodwill North Central Wisconsin. And now it's time to celebrate eco-friendly living across our world.
Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to Local 5's special edition of Sustainably Speaking. I'm meteorologist Ryan Kudish. Here at Local 5, we are committed to sharing positive stories of residents and businesses going above and beyond to help foster a greener and healthier future. As part of tonight's special, we will showcase a restoration project happening right here in Northeast Wisconsin. We will also have a special guest join us in studio to talk about the do's and don'ts of recycling. Plus, we'll revisit some of the ways organizations in our area are creating a more sustainable environment. First tonight, the lower bay of Green Bay and the Fox River have been labeled an area of concern by the Wisconsin DNR. A major partnership between multiple organizations is committed to helping restore the habitat of that waterway.
The area of concern was issued for the waterway back in 1987 due to issues with pollution. This included contaminated sediment, degraded water quality, and loss of fish and wildlife habitat. But a major project ranging in the tens of millions of dollars seeks to help restore the lower bay of Green Bay and the Fox River to as close as it was before. It is called the Green Bay and Fox River Habitat Restoration Project that first began in 2020 with the PCB cleanup of the Fox River and is now turning its attention to restoring habitats. Green Bay Program Coordinator for the Wisconsin DNR, Bree Kupski, explains what these projects entail.
A lot of the sites need invasive species management. Just across the board at almost every single site we have, there's a lot of work to do to remove invasive plants and things like that. We're also looking at doing quite a bit of rock reefs, other fishery habitat areas like adding woody structure. There's all sorts of native plantings that will happen as well, wetland restoration.
There are a total of 12 projects being constructed, which will restore nearly 500 acres of wetlands, 150 to 200 acres of riparian marshes, and add 20 new fisheries and mussel habitats. Of those 12 projects, the two that residents of Northeast Wisconsin will see and benefit greatly from are the Ashwaubenon Creek project at Ashwaubenon Park and the Dutchman Creek project at the National Railroad Museum. Jessica Brandt, the project manager overseeing both of these sites, says a 2017 NRDA grant was provided to the village of Ashwaubenon to remove invasive species, add osprey nesting, and place 2 fish shoals at the mouth of the creek. Now it's time to expand and revitalize the area even more.
Really focusing on riparian marsh restoration. So in the Fox River, there was historically large patches of riparian marsh, which was really valuable for fish and wildlife species. Most of that has been lost over time, and one of the main things we're trying to do at this site is replace or restore some of that habitat that has been degraded.
This site will feature submerged woody structures and more fish shoals for nursing and spawning. Rex Mellberg with the village of Ashwaubenon explains the importance of getting involved in this project.
Well, Ashwaubenon is fortunate to be along the Fox River, and there's some great spots, some great viewing for people and families to enjoy. So we feel very fortunate we have the chance to help rejuvenate the Fox, whether it be for some additional wildlife and fish habitat, or whether it just be for people to enjoy the beautiful views and the wildlife that's out there.
A similar plan is in place at Dutchman Creek and will also include points of access for fishing as well as a new boardwalk. CEO of the National Railroad Museum, Jacqueline Frank, highlights the benefits of this project.
It's also important, for our economics in this region. The National Railroad Museum is an economic force, and so is our natural world, and have those opportunities where people can come here, not only see the trains, see things outside, but then step out and fish and to really spend their time here, I think is a huge impact to everybody.
Kupski says that the projects are in the planning phase, but will be completed by 2027. They will then be maintained and monitored and be done by 2030.
The projects are helping restore a population of many fish species in our local waterways. If you'd like to get involved, contact the Green Bay DNR office. The environment is the main reason why this Fox Valley business makes the products in a sustainable way. New Leaf Paper in Appleton uses recycled fiber to craft the products in which they sell, which includes notebooks, journals, and copy paper. CEO Paul Bradshaw explains why this decision was made.
So making recycled paper does require less energy, so less greenhouse gas is needed in order to manufacture the products to begin with. The process of reusing recycled fiber uses less water in the process and less energy. It's less energy intensive.
Sustainable business practices are top of mind for New Leaf Paper. Bradshaw says their mission to use recycled fiber is also intended to take waste out of the waste stream and protect our forests. With every order they receive, the company takes a share of those profits and invests into planting a tree back into the communities in which they serve. Coming up after the break, we will be joined by Jordan Hiller from Outagamie County Recycling and Solid Waste. He'll explain why certain items are not to be recycled. Stay with us. Local 5's special presentation of Sustainably Speaking returns after the break. Welcome back to Local 5's special edition of Sustainably Speaking. Many of us are familiar with the concept of recycling, but when you really think about it, do you know what can and can't be tossed in the recycling bin? Right now, we are joined by Jordan Hiller, Program Coordinator for Outagamie County Recycling and Solid Waste, to tell us more about that. Jordan, how are you doing today?
Wonderful. How are you, Ryan?
Thanks for being here. So first, talk about your role with Outagamie County. What are some of the things you like to do on a day-to-day basis there?
Oh, absolutely. So as the program coordinator, I like to say my main job is just to make recycling easy for our residents. The best thing I get to do is give tours of the actual recycling facility in Outagamie County, and I think it really opens up people's eyes to what is incoming into our facility and what they can do their part to keep some of those items out.
Let's talk about some of those items. So the first one I want to talk about is shredded paper. I saw it firsthand when I got a tour of the facility. You know, why are these such a problem and why should these not be recycled?
Absolutely. So it's not that they can't be recycled, it's just that they are no longer acceptable curbside at our facility. Because what happens is even though paper is recyclable, it's going to come in a bag like this and it's going to ride up a conveyor belt, and then that first sharp piece of equipment, boom, he's going to explode and he's going to get mad and he goes everywhere but the paper line. So unfortunately what he does is he actually ends up contaminating our glass and makes it hard for us to recycle broken glass.
A big one, you know, you guys stress a lot of is what I see over here, plastic bags. They actually let me go in and look at, you know, the person getting in there, and you can see all those plastic bags. Why are these a big problem?
Oh, no, that's perfect. Unfortunately, we have to send sorting staff into those large pieces of equipment every day on break and over lunch to physically cut these out with power tools and grinders, because what happens is they ended up getting wrapped and tangled around gears and shafts, and you wouldn't think one bag's a problem, but when you have thousands of these bags, what they do is they all start to block those holes, so now your bottles, jugs, and jars can't fall through, and your plastic bottles and jugs end up getting recycled into the paper line, and that's not good.
What are some of the ways that plastic bags can be recycled? What can you do with them if you have so many of them from like the supermarket or whatnot?
Well, a really nice program is that there's store drop-off locations. It's not that this plastic isn't recyclable. As long as it's clean and dry, it should go into a drop-off location, like you said, in front of grocery stores and retail stores. They should have bins right out front of their doors. One
thing that we don't have here, but one thing I've always wondered about are pasta boxes and pizza boxes. What should do with those? Because you know the pasta boxes, you have the little plastic film on the front, so you're always wondering, like, is this recyclable? Kind of talk about that.
No, that's a really great question, and we are very fortunate to say at our facility, they are both acceptable. So when it comes to junk mail, pasta boxes, things with those little bit of those plastic windows, A-OK, put them right in your recycling, break them down if possible. Pizza boxes as well. We're very fortunate to be in what is known as the Paper Valley, that our buyers are able to accept those. Now, that might not be something you see in our guide, because that's not something that's accepted, you know, just a little bit south in Madison. So their facilities, they don't. So we always advise to check locally if you're concerned or confused about if it's recyclable or not. But within Brown, Outagamie, and Winnebago counties, pizza boxes are A-OK.
Yep. And we also have some of these over here, these plastics. Kind of talk about those really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to plastics, we like to say it's household bottles, jugs, and jars. If it's in your refrigerator, your bathroom, your kitchen, I generally like to say those are good plastics. Those are good recyclables. We're really trying to push our new AI robotics that are able to select these dairy containers. So think butters, yogurts, everything like you see here. Those are all really good recyclable materials, and you should be putting those in your blue bin at home.
Yep. So really quickly, you have 30 seconds left. Where can people go if they want to find out more about what to do with some of their items?
Absolutely. Using our website's a great resource. It's recyclemoretricounty.org. From there, you can have access to our Waste Wizard tool, where you can look up material that you don't know if it's recyclable or not. We also partner with a Wisconsin-based company called Better Bin, and it's an app available for download on Android and iOS. And you can actually scan the UPC barcode of any product, and it tells you how to dispose of it properly.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time. We appreciate you being here today. And coming up after the break, we'll take you to two Northeast Wisconsin businesses that are helping reduce food waste headed to our landfills. Local 5's special edition of Sustainably Speaking returns in just a few minutes. Welcome back, and thank you for joining us this evening on our special edition of Sustainably Speaking. A Northeast Wisconsin business is taking waste and turning it into a useful product for your soils. We bring you to Shilton to show you how New Compost LLC is embarking on a mission with the use of worms.
When you think of worms, maybe your first thought are the ones that show up on your driveway after rainstorms or ones used for fishing bait. But earthworms actually provide an essential soil enhancer, as I found out from Connor Frymuth, owner of New Compost LLC in Shilton. Frymuth explains what his business is doing during its early stages.
I actually work with a lot of farmers in the area, as well as cut flower producers and orchards, and I actually take a lot of waste that would have easily gone to either the landfill or out into the field to just rot and put it back into good use.
This process begins by placing the worms in soil in a 200-gallon tote. Then he adds organic matter, including paper pulp, food waste, and yard clippings. The worms break down that material faster and eventually produce castings or vermicompost, which are sifted out and bagged. Frymuth says this is a great addition to any soil.
It actually adds beneficial organic matter that actually helps improve a lot of those nutrients even better, as well as helps not only your food but your soil actually retain a lot more moisture, actually allows those nutrients to be utilized by the plant more efficiently.
Prior to this business, he says he was a mason by trade and stumbled upon this industry from a gentleman who worked for a nonprofit called Growing Power in Milwaukee, who then passed the torch off to him. He says his main goal is to help growers move away from conventional uses of pesticides and fertilizers and provide beneficial soil amendments. According to Frymuth, 60% of Wisconsin's compost ends up going unutilized at landfills, and only 5% are composted across the state. He says if he can be a small part in eating away at that 60%, he's doing his part.
What I'm trying to do is take that 5% and get it even higher up. I mean, if I can make a 1% difference, especially in the community, and bring that 5% to 6%, man, that'd be a huge help.
For those efforts, Frymuth and his business were recently recognized by a local nonprofit.
If you're interested in donating your compost or looking to try his products for your own garden, head to our website at wearegreenbay.com. Now, getting into donating your food waste at home couldn't be any easier thanks to the help of this local business. In 2021, Greener Bay Compost started a pickup service where you simply place your food waste outside and they come and pick it up for you. What started with just 9 residential households has now grown to almost 200 homes. CEO Corey Groshek explains the benefits of this type of service.
The big benefits of our service is that you don't even have to leave your house to use it. We come to you. One of the great things about what we do is that you don't have to worry about a schedule that you have to adhere to other than having to put the bucket outside by 8 a.m. You set it outside for us and we do the rest for you.
As a result, the business's end product is a beneficial soil amendment that helps enrich the soil with vital nutrients and retain more moisture. Now, it's not just only homes that Greener Bay Compost collects from, food waste from, but also they collect from local businesses as well. Ryan Ruzziconi, owner of Riverside Pizza in Green Bay, explains why it was important for his business to get involved.
Well, it's easy, it's convenient, it's good for the environment, obviously, but it's also been a great learning experience and educational experience for not only myself but our employees, because you get to see the amount of food waste that you have at your restaurant.
A recent Wisconsin DNR study found that 20% of what ends up in our landfills is food waste. By donating to Greener Bay Compost, residents and businesses are able to decrease that number. Coming up, we head to Lambeau Field where the Packers strive to help our environment. Don't go anywhere. Our special edition of Sustainably Speaking continues after the break. Welcome back to our special coverage of Sustainably Speaking, where we highlight important initiatives happening in our area to create a better environment. Over the years, the Packers have been an instrumental part in our community and strive to put the green in Green Bay. Here's an inside look at some aspects of sustainability that the team has invested in.
Lambeau Field has been the home of the Packers since the 1957 season, and over the years has undergone changes to keep up with modern times. Through all the latest and greatest technology added to the stadium and its facilities, Packers Director of Public Affairs, Aaron Popke, explains what the team has done with sustainability in mind.
Recently, we launched what we call the Green Team and have done and engaged in what we would call, say, more traditional aspects of sustainability in terms of reduce, reuse, recycle.
The Green Team helps facilitate integrating sustainable business practices to daily operations They have also started the First Down for Trees program, which Popke says is a way to help offset carbon emissions used on road games. This initiative is approaching 4,000 trees planted around the area. Popke says sustainability is a key part of the Packers' mission.
The mission is to win championships and provide a great experience. And within that is also operating in what we believe is a right way, and including that is sustainability, of course.
Over to the construction side of things, Director of Sustainable Services for Myron Construction, Teresa Lehman, highlights some of the key aspects the Packers are investing in.
Going with high tech that's very energy efficient. All of their new grab-and-go features are also very energy efficient. Their air handling units and all their mechanical systems are very energy efficient.
Adding on to that, Lehman says that for player and front office spaces, the team invests in indoor air quality and the use of natural lighting. The new scoreboards are powered by LED lights compared to the previous ones that used incandescent lights. That means that even though these scoreboards are bigger, they use less energy than the ones prior. Finally, on game day, 81,000 Packer fans flock to the stadium, and with that comes a lot of trash and wastewater. Lehman says the team has that part taken care of.
That many visitors, that generates quite a bit of wastewater. They have an underground storage system for that wastewater on the east side of the stadium, and they essentially store all the wastewater there and then slowly release that over the course of the week following the game.
This is a way to help not overwork the wastewater treatment plants in the surrounding communities. Lehman says the Packers also work with local communities to facilitate rides to the game to reduce carbon emissions of idling cars. Some common household items can be dangerous for the environment. After the break, we speak with professionals about how you can dispose hazardous waste found around your home. Welcome back to our special edition of Sustainably Speaking. Hazardous waste is always a problem that local officials are always stressing the do's and don'ts about. Here's a story about why it's an issue and what you should do with that waste. Once you are done using a certain item, it's important to dispose of it properly, especially if it involves chemicals or hazardous waste. This includes anything from bleach or ammonia-based products to aerosols, oils, and paints. Alyssa Ranke, the Stormwater Coordinator for Fox Wolf Watershed Alliance, identifies a problem that needs to be stopped when it comes to disposing of hazardous waste.
We have so many different products in our homes and our garages. There's so many different ways you can dispose of them. And some people are still kind of doing that old-fashioned way of dumping it in the drain in their garage or out into the storm drain. And that's the biggest thing we want to talk about, is to stop doing that. Those drains do lead directly into our waterways.
Ranke says this could help fuel the yearly algae blooms as well as add pollutants to the water bodies. Now get this, 1 gallon of oil has the power to pollute 1 million gallons of water, which is the size of a 50-foot wide and 10-foot deep football field. Now, if you're wondering what to do with an item, certain phone applications, like BetterBin, allow users to scan the barcode of items. It then proceeds to tell users where that item should go. The DNR also provides a guide on their website telling you which items to pitch into the trash, which items to pour down the drain, and which items are banned from the trash and need to be taken to a proper disposal site.
Ranke suggests checking your local municipality's website for any questions regarding what to do with certain items. A local business is helping to give materials a second home instead of never being used again. I visited Revolve's warehouse located in Wapaka. The 24,000 square foot building isn't your typical antique shop. Todd Jones with Revolve's said his business is involved in the deconstruction process. He explains the benefits of this unique method compared to just demolishing a structure.
So the deconstruction process prevents those materials from being placed in a landfill, improves the environment, and makes those items available for reuse in new applications.
The demolition industry adds 7 billion tons of material to the landfill each year. Jones likes to say the deconstruction process helps the business preserve the past while also preparing for the future. If you are looking for a particular item, the warehouse receives 3 to 4 new shipments each week. Thank you for joining us tonight as we highlighted all the ways Northeast Wisconsin is building a more sustainable future. As a reminder, you can catch the weekly segments Wednesdays at 6 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. right here on Local 5 News. Have a great night.
Local 5 was proud to bring you this special presentation of Sustainably Speaking, presented by Logistics Recycling Incorporated and Goodwill North Central Wisconsin. Thank you for watching.